In a few days' time, the Muslim world will commence the fasting of the holy month of Ramadan, a special month that provides Muslims the opportunity to be new again in times of purity, forgiveness, and faith renewal. Hello, many thanks for joining us on the Unity Station, and it is Issues That Current Affairs program where we try to dissect topical issues in society. I am Abdullah Hajia. Do join us again. Many thanks for staying tuned. Now, fasting in the month of Ramadan is a grace that all look forward to as Muslims prepare to witness this year's holy month of Ramadan. An Islamic scholar will be joining me on the conversation to talk more on the significance and what we need to do at this material time. But this will be after this time out. Stay with us. Many thanks for rejoining us, and let's go straight into the conversation talking about the significance of the holy month of Ramadan. And I'm privileged to be joined by no other person but Dr. Maisuna Yahya. He's from the Department of Islamic Studies, University of Abuja. He's a non-phase and one reputable scholar, I must say, that we're proud of to talk about fasting at this time. Doctor, you're welcome to Issues tonight.
Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum assalam. Well, at this material time, let's go straight to our conversation. And I will start by asking you, what is the sunnatic way to approach a period like this when the Ramadan is about some days away from this moment?
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful, the most compassionate. In the first place, Allah is a preparatory God, and He loves those who prepare. In the issue of Hajj, it says, وَتَزَوَّدُوا فَإِنَّ خَيْرَ الزَّادِ التَّقْوَى. Get prepared, and the best way to prepare is by renewing your faith. I am picking a keyword from your intro. So let's try as much as we can to get ourselves closer to Almighty Allah, especially with our faith, Islamic faith, the faith in everything all around, and the faith in Ramadan, which we believe in, the faith in which we believe in that people before us have fasted. So how are we going to do? By preparing our hearts, preparing our bodies, in fact, preparing every part of our body, because as Muslims, every part of our body fasts with us. Our eyes, our nose, our heart, our hands, legs, and what have you. So we should get prepared of this. 1, 2, preparation of the kitchen. We should equip our wives very, very well. Then in conjunction with our family members. 3, we must prepare also for those who are around us. Remember, Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam never joked with neighbors. Neighbors are very, very important in everyone's lives, because when you treat your neighbors well, that could be an asset entering into the paradise of Allah. And finally, we must prepare all around us that have to be spiritualism. We must renew everything. Our recitation of the Quran, giving out sadaqah, doing good to others, and on and on and on. So those are the preparatory intent that we have to get.
Okay, well, still with the preparation, I was listening to one scholar talked about the spiritual preparation should even take more preeminence, than the physical preparation. That is in times of our commitment to worship God like never before. Like in his words, that sometimes our spirits could even be dead, but we need to bring it back to life in times of intensifying efforts to stand the night prayer, to do good deeds, charity, reaching out, like you said earlier. How can we intensify more on this?
Let me give an analogy. If you're a civil servant like you and I, and we need to buy something in the month of March, April, do we double into it? The answer is no. You get prepared. You prepare for mind, then from mind, you now put it into physical. In mind, I will have to contribute 20,000 naira from my salary. What I want to buy is about 100,000. Already I have 40,000. So I have 3 months interval. By that, my work, my activity will be carried out successfully and well indeed. On that note, as Muslims, we must prepare our hearts. Then, two, we must have in mind that, oh, I thank Allah first for making me to witness this year because many have not. Not because of their sins, not because they're not perfect, not because of nothing, but because Allah deliberately wants and He deliberately also reserve our own lives. Then the question here is, how can I do more than what I have done in the past years of Ramadan, so that that will get us more and additional rewards in the sight of Almighty Allah. And as we do, like I said, we must do together and in togetherness with our family members. And by generalization, we have to do also with all those who are around us.
Okay, well, Doctor, you're a scholar. There's this prophetic saying that when the time like this comes, we talk about the prayer, say, Allahumma baligna Ramadan. Can you shed more light on that for, the sake of our Muslim, viewer there?
When Ramadan is closer like this, what we need to do is to follow exactly what the Prophet has said. Allahumma balig lana awana Ramadan. Balig lana Ramadan. Balig lana Ramadan. Make us to be witnesses of Ramadan. Because everything you have to ask Allah. Even though you want to do it for Him, yet you still have to beg Him to make it easy for you, to make you witness. So we have to ask Allah to make us witness Ramadan and give us the ease of carrying out the activities that are involved in fasting the month of Ramadan.
Well, Islam is also a religion that also considers so many things. This Ramadan, we learned that not everybody will fast. Can you give us an example of some of those people that probably the religion has given exemption, of saying, okay, you can't fast, and if you can't fast, what do we do?
Number one, let me give the list in brief. The heavily pregnant women. Even two, whether the pregnancy is just at the earliest stage, because women are different in nature. If she feels she cannot, she doesn't have to. So pregnancy, generally, the pregnant women. Then number two, we have the sick ones, those who are seriously sick or ill. Sick, that is maybe you have fever, you have chronic ulcer or what have you. Then you are not, you are exempted from fasting at that point in time. Number three, al musafir, somebody who travels a very long, far distance, hectic journey. You are allowed, you are exempted. But there is a caveat here. What is the caveat? If I'm going to Maiduguri now, I'm sure in less than 2 hours, I'll be there. So I need not break.
By flight?
By flight. Okay. That's what I mean. Thank you. I need not break my fast. But if I'm going to Maiduguri from here to, I'm from Abuja to Maiduguri, definitely I may be exempted if, that's under conditional clause, if I don't have the ability to, if I know it will affect Islam first, if I know it will affect my health, I have to suspend it. So when Ramadan goes, I'll now replace it. Also, those like sicklers and the rest of them, and also the extremely very old people that they need supplement, they need food at short intervals that will also energize them. So all these and many others, they are exempted, and at the end of Ramadan, they cannot replace. But another solution, another option is that, especially for pregnant women, if she so wishes, she can feed someone from day one till the end of the day. Iftar, sahur, sahur, iftar, sahur, iftar. Or better still, you calculate the kind of food they sell around that area that will satisfy you. And that is what you are going to pay to that person. So it means you are going to pay for iftar, you pay for sahur. If sahur, for example, he or she will use about 2,200 naira times two, that's 5,000. 5,000 times 30, I'm not mistaken, that should be around 150,000 naira. That's what you give out for the person to feed. But here it depends on the area. If you are living in a remote area where 1,000 naira can feed you for breakfast, 1,000 naira for iftar, then that's 2,000 naira. You calculate and give.
All right. Well, that's interesting. Okay, let's also look at also the segmentation of the holy month of Ramadan. We talk about the first 10 days, second 10 days, and the third, of it. What are some of those things that we should be learning? We should know that in these first 10 days, I am or I should be doing as a fasted Muslim.
There is one prosaic, consultation in Yoruba, which they borrowed from Arabic as well. The first 10 of Ramadan is for mercy and blessings of Allah. That means during the first 10, make sure you ask for Allah's mercies and blessings. Let me tell you, my brother, What we're looking for most here in this world that will jeer us to enter the paradise of Allah is Allah's mercies and blessings. By the time somebody gets it, you are good to go. Then number two, that's the second 10, making 20 now. Forgiveness. If I offend you and say forgive me, I can still move closer to you. And one thing with Allah is this: by the time He forgives you, He shows you more mercies. So now He has forgiven you. All those mercies in the first 10 are now transferred and match up with forgiveness. Then what about the last 10th of Ramadan, which will make it 29:30? That is the emancipation of His servant from hellfire and straight into paradise. So long one is able to go by all the dictates of Almighty Allah and the special advice or piece of advice of Red Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, that is the Allah's do's and His don't. All the Prophet has encouraged us with, we follow. Tahajjud or Qiyamul Layl, Taraweeh, that's after Isha, the Nafla we do, then giving out Sadaqah the more, recitation of the glorious Quran, chanting and boosting the names and egos of Almighty Allah, then also trying as much as one can to do what we call seclusion, known as i'tikaf, during the last 10. For those who have the ability to do it, for those who have the chance to do it, like those of you working in NT, it is only Allah that will just bless you more because it is not very easy. I'm sure they will not leave you.
And I can't remember the last time I attended any itikaf.
So that's
Okay, well, let's also go into the issue of charity in Ramadan. Now, beyond just those that you mentioned earlier, if they are on exemption, they should be able to do one thing or the other, including feeding of a fasting Muslim. I want some of the a fasting Muslim to also benefit. Can we emphasize giving out charity, whether during iftar or giving somebody what to use throughout the Ramadan?
Based on my own personal experiences, I have never seen a period in the life of Muslims where charity goes round all and sundry, if not in Ramadan. And that is what is paining me, that if we're able to transfer this charitable act that we do in Ramadan to other months, believe me, you may hardly find too poor or people who are worried with abject poverty. Now, well, I can talk of Abuja, I can talk of Kwara, I can talk of Sokoto, I can talk of Nasarawa and many other states. Actually planned that throughout Ramadan, people must come and break their fast in my house. Some also add, they have number of people they have selected to come and take iftar from their houses. Not only that, some buy unsealed dresses that please take this for your salah when it comes. Some they buy food, raw food like rice, gari, and what have you. Please take this to your house, to your family. Then some will even go and pay for the whole 30 days of that month. Please cook for people. I don't want to know how you share it, but between you and Allah, share to the less privileged, and on and on. What about even cash? It is this time around people use dollar to give charity, not even naira. And why some poor people like us will give naira, and that's based on our capacity. Like a little law nafsan illa wus'aha. So people give a lot of charity in Ramadan. But one charity we need to improve on is telling ourselves, especially the imams, the qadis, and all others who are the Islamic scholars, that what we have been doing that is bad, that we have been subjected to drop all this while, but now we decided to have dropped them in Ramadan. Why not get them dropped even after Ramadan?
Permanently.
Amen.
All right. Well, Imam, I know Ramadan is also a month of the Quran. How can we get much closer in terms of understanding for those who can't even recite? Should learn how to recite. For those who don't even know the interpretation of the glorious Quran, should probably get more. If you can't finish every part of it through tafsir, maybe you get closer to scholars that probably will interpret a larger chunk of the Quran for the benefit of your own dealings in this life and in the hereafter.
On that note, there is an irony here, which I've noticed with Muslims. Majority of fathers and mothers, they send their children on wars to learn Quran and to learn in Islamia. But why not the same people? If we think we are too big, which I don't want to believe, because, for example, in those who are civil servant and public servant, if they ask you come and go to Germany, come and go to Canada to go and study or to learn a course for 6 months, You will never say you are old. You will put all your enthusiasm there to go and learn it. So why not Quran? For many reasons, but one in particular, that we need to learn Quran. The Prophet ﷺ said, Man Qura alfan, whoever reads one letter, not one verse, not one phrase, not one chapter, but just one letter, you are going to gain 10 rewards. Then when you read another one, 10 rewards. That is 10 times 3, 30. Let us now assume that I have read Surah Al-Fatiha, which has 7 verses. 10 times 7, that's 70, a woof, without struggling for me. So now what I'm saying is, even if you cannot go to Malam to learn, why not ask our children to give back to us what they have learned in their own Islamia? So by that, we'll have some memorization in our psyches. Number 2, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes highest per day is enough for somebody to ponder on the recitation of the Quran, and especially the meanings, the exegesis. For example, each day, make sure you learn 5 verses together with their meanings. And if possible, you have Quran that has explanations. Go by those. So it means 5 verses a day times 7 per week. But at 35, you have now learned about 35 verses of the Quran together with their meanings. Tafsir, we must also attend during the month of
Okay,
Ramadan.
well, Doctor, we'll come back. I think we're not done here with this question, but we just have to go on a short break. And when we return, we'll continue from talking about the Quran and Tafsir in the month of Ramadan. Well, you're still watching Issues on the United Station NT Channel 5 Abuja. Time out for a short break. Do join us again after this time out. Many thanks for rejoining us after the break. Well, my guest is still here and making a whole lot of sense in our topic, the significance of Ramadan. Well, Doctor, you were talking about tafsir and interpretation of the glorious Quran. Most often, you see, during the Ramadan, we see a whole lot of mosques across the world, not only Nigeria, organizing tafsir. We see worshippers who are fasting, go listen. But at the end of the day, uh, much or little is seen in the transformation of human beings who would have gone through interpretations of the Quran that we're supposed to be better Muslims. How can we up our game in that regard?
One thing I know here is that we have Ibadur Rahman, the followers, the servant of Allah, and we have Ibadur Shaitan, those who follow the footpath of Shaitan, who allow Shaitan to rule them, but not ruling Shaitan. For every good Muslim, it is good you have the intent of ruling Shaitan, but Shaitan not ruling you. That be as it may. What happens is this: Shaitan whispers into people's hearts to say, okay, look, all these things you have like, you better drop them. And exactly this is the work of Shaitan. He always wants to interpolate in people's affairs. Therefore, for every Muslim, we need to always remember Allah. I will now go back to exactly what the Prophet has taught, that we remember Allah most, we remember death every minute. Then when we live and witness the night, we should think that maybe we are not going to witness the morning. If we have all these at the backs of our minds, then we are going to improve so wonderfully well. And that will accumulate for us a lot of rewards in the sight of Almighty Allah.
Doctor, thank you very much. Well, you're a scholar, and you will agree with me. During the Ramadan, you see mosques is something else, full into getting full to capacity. We tend to be like a more prayerful Muslims during Ramadan. Yes, I know you've talked about the sincerity. How can we also emphasize that prayer is what we must do even beyond Ramadan?
Out of the 5 pillars of Islam, especially to most less privileged, what we have to hammer on to improve and intensify on are 2. You have faith, having iman, billah, and that of his Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Then you have 5 daily prayers. You have zakat. You have hajj, and what do you have again? Now, if you have all these 5, that is al-iman billah wa rasulihi, zakat. I mean, praying 5 times a day, then giving out zakat, Sawm Ramadan, and having hajj. Now, hajj this year, according to the information I got last week, 11 million. I have never worked to come across 11 million in my life. So going for Hajj, 0. Except If Allah wants to surprise me, that is bringing it from an unknown place. That is one. So Hajj, out. Secondly, Zakah, for the fact that I don't have money to perform Hajj, likely I don't have money to give out Zakah.
Zakat.
So you have two, that is out. Some Ramadan, if I have chronic ulcer, then I am given the opportunity to feed another person. And so I'm not participating fully in Ramadan. But because Allah sees, knows, and will judge me by my intention, that is why He has allowed me to feed people. So 3 out of 5. So what you have now is faith and
Prayer.
and if you look at the way Allah has spoken of prayers
Yes.
in Subhanallah, you should know. And He said, أول ما يحاسب بالعبد يوم القيامة الصلاة. By the time a Muslim is kept in the grave and all family members face homes, when the angels come, the first thing they are going to ask is about your prayers. If your prayers are okay, all other sins will now be reconsidered just because of the benefit of the prayers you have had. The Quran said, Luma uhiya ilayka min al-kitab wa aqimi salah. Learn how to read the Quran and all it takes and all that revolves around it, then wa aqimi salah and begin to pray. He didn't even say wa atu zakah. He didn't talk about zakah here. He's talking about giving out 5 daily prayers. Why? Because then when you pray and you set your mind there, believe in me, whatever misdemeanor, whatever sinful act you have, gradually Allah will make it to get erased off your heart. Then the more they are erased, the more closer you become unto Almighty Allah. Why? Because one day shall be one day when accountability shall be given, and that's after death. What then can we do to meet Allah well?
Okay, well, time is beginning to give us signal, but before then, let's quickly also help our fasting Muslim out there. Is there preference or what to use to do iftar? Sunnatically, if I may use that.
Sunnatically, yes, you are correct. Sunnatically, Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam recommended fruits. And if you look at the work, all fruits do in human beings, very, very overwhelming. Just one out of it. When you take a lot of fruit very well, you will not have the problem of constipation, except other things are causing it. So it means it makes your digestion of food to be easier. So when you go to the toilet, you're not going to start behaving as if you are in a labor room, as a man in particular. So fruits is recommended. In the absence of fruits, because if you want to buy a whole of watermelon now, Ajia, you have to keep 3,000 in your pocket, a good one. Manageable one, 2,000, 2,200. Now, if you cannot afford that, water is okay. What does water do as well? One, it will quench the thirsts, then it will ease your digestion, and at the end, you are replacing the lost fluid which you have. Maybe you sweat during the afternoon of Ramadan. Then the dryness will now be reduced by the intake of that H2O, known as water.
Okay, let's also help the fasting Muslim. Is there a specific prayer you make during iftar?
Yes, you can say it in any language that Allah, this fasting is for you, and you are the one to reward. Please reward me proportionately.
Sahur, sunnah around sahur.
Sunnah around sahur, what you do is try as much as you can to wake up and take the little that you can take. For some who have problems of when they eat around that time, they get running stomach or what have you, then at least the Prophet recommended water. You can see water, as we call it in Nigeria.
But waking up that time is very important.
It's very, very important. You wake up and do some nawafil, ask Allah about your here and the hereafter, because the prayers and supplications of Muslims should consist of Rabbana atina fi dunya hasana wa fil akhirati hasanatan wa qina adhaban nar. That means you have combined the two together.
Before we let you go, we also have seen over time, even though this one will now involve those who have the means, Umrah during Ramadan, how important it is.
It is very important, especially and particularly because of the last 10. People target last 10. At this juncture, I've been praying to Allah to make me witness that at least, even if it's going to be once in a lifetime, we have been watching. Very, very rewarding, very, very fantastic, very, very beneficial. May Allah make us to witness.
In less than a minute, what's your words to the Muslim?
Ramadan is coming, Ramadan is fast approaching, fast as if you will never do again. For witnessing this one, it is Allah's mercies. Therefore, do all you can to make sure that you fulfill and do all the needful.
MashaAllah, we say a very special thank you for Dr. Mesuna Yahya of the Department of Islamic Studies, University of Abuja, for coming to share your thoughts, insight, and knowledge with us on issues. And I believe all of you out there too would have learned a lot from the forthcoming Ramadan. Thank you once more.
Thank you very much. 25.
Well, we've gone through the tutelage and scholarly knowledge sharing with Dr. Mesuna Yahya on issues, and we believe he has educated us enough for us to be guided on the forthcoming Ramadan. Let's do base same time, same station next week when we bring you another topic on issues. I remain Abdullah Hajia saying bye for now.